I made a vow to protect this little one as if my life depended on it. I made a similar vow.
Is it really how everybody mistakes your weirdness for coolness?
Hello and welcome back to another episode of I Can't Believe We're Still Doing This. My name is Natalie Megan and this is Weirdo Book Club, and today we are going back up the mountain, the Fox Hollow Mountain, to do one last story of love, companionship, and finding a woman on the brink of tragedy with children that don't belong to her. And we will be diving headfirst into Man of the Mountain by Frankie Love. And I find it very humorous that all of the titles, Protector, Soul, Heart, and then you have just man. He's just a guy. We're just dealing with a guy this time. Just a guy. I just can't believe that we're still doing it, you know? So we're gonna go through this pretty quickly because, and I say quickly and it'll probably still be about an hour. And this will be the final installment of this series and reviews on this channel. So this will be the official second series that I've completed on this channel. Third? Haunting Adeline and The Never King. So I guess third. Woo! But I mean, it's not really that big of a woo because these books have, like, collectively, they're the size of one book. The whole series is like 50 pages per book. I'm not going to pat myself too hard on the back, but I am going to make a note of it because it is still something. It is still something. And that's really a theme for the whole series, really. Like, wow, that was something indeed. All right, so I have my computer and I have my notes. And before we go to the synopsis, I want to look at the cover again. Already the title denotes that this is just a man. Just a man. And I think that's funny because he arguably looks lame in comparison to all the other men on the covers. And I think that's pretty funny. So he matches the vibe right away. The baby looks bewildered. Like, what the fuck am I doing here? How could you do this to me? Question mark. Disclaimers before we get started. This video will contain spoilers, opinions, general shit talking. If none of that sounds interesting to you, don't stay. And definitely don't watch the other 3 videos that I did on this series. As a forest ranger in Fox Hollow Forest, I spend my days in the woods alone. Until now. A baby's been abandoned at the station and it's my duty to get her somewhere safe. When Katie, the cute and curvy social worker, comes to take the baby, a storm sweeps in. Now she's stuck here at my cabin until the weather turns. But by then it'll be too late. Katie's mine now, heart and soul. I just have to convince her that a baby doesn't just change me. The baby is changing everything. This is quite a setup already. I'm perturbed. Dear reader, ready to head to Fox Hollow? Cutter is ready to claim what he craves, but will Katie be able to handle all he has to offer? Because he's more than a mountain daddy. He's a mountain man. Just a man. So chapter 1 belongs to Cutter with a K, and we catch up with Cutter as he's doing the final rounds of his day, you know, just checking to make sure everybody's safe, making the mountain safe for all the families and campers that come up there and trust him to be man of the mountain. He notices some tracks on the ground that cause him deep distress because those ain't coyote tracks. Them there's cougar tracks, and not an apple teeny wielding heel wearing leopard print clad lady in her 40s looking for a young sugar daddy to take home. No, not that kind of cougar, okay? We're talking about the animal. That cat means danger, and it threatens him doing a good job protecting everybody on this mountain. He can't have that. He talks a bit more about his job as a forest ranger. It's riveting. He grew up in these woods, you know, and is not about to leave them for nothing, but he does wish that he had a woman of his very own. But don't get it twisted. He's not interested in anything substantial, nothing real, right? Sometimes what I really crave is a woman to share a bed with, nothing more, because hell, I'm a lone ranger. Literally, because he's a ranger. And there's no woman on earth that can make me change. Burr, burr, burr.
The Lone Ranger.
So yeah, he's a Lone Ranger, and I bet there is one woman who will make him change. I bet there's one. I bet there is. And I bet that we meet her in like, 2 minutes. As he continues walking, he gets a text from James and Marcy inviting him to a BBQ that they're all having collectively together on Saturday. Reed and Jasper will be here with both their wives too. I don't know why the Southern is coming out. You know, I've done a lot of character work, but I've been through a lot in the last week and a half, mainly taking care of a kitten. Oh my God, though, the gang's all here. How fun. I want to go to the barbecue. I don't. I shove my phone in my pocket, not wanting to be reminded of what I don't have. But you just said you didn't want, you just said that. You didn't want it. Reminded of what those guys got, even if it's not what I want. Oh, okay.
Knowing they have women in their bed each night to satisfy their cravings gets me a little bitter. Okay, a whole lot bitter.
So you're just mad that they're getting some and you're not. Okay, I guess that makes sense. You could probably find some of that same thing at the local watering hole. Literally, what was it called? The Hollow Hole. You think you can't go find a companion for the night at the Hollow Hole? Especially because you said you don't want anything long-term or real or anything. You just are jealous that your friends are getting some constantly, consistently, whenever they want it to satisfy their cravings and you're not. You're just giving me a lot of conflicting information here, and I don't really know what to do with it, but I'm sure it'll all be cleared up in a minute or two. But still, you're like Cutter with a K. Can I call you Cutter? You're not making a whole lot of sense right now. I guess that makes sense because after all, you're just a man. He's about to the station to wrap up his day when he hears a howl. No, a cry.
Running to the station, my heart pounds. This was no wild animal. That was a baby. I round the corner, seeing a pair of cougars inching toward the door with a hungry look in their eyes, snapping their mouths, fangs glistening, moving towards the door where a baby lay strapped into a baby carrier.
What a situation. Chapter 2, Katie. Oh my God, Katie and Cutter with a K? That's clever with a K. So we meet Katie, the social worker, and her job that she loves, saving children, hunting things, the family business. But she is frustrated with her current position because she's kind of being steamrolled. Her boss is like not a nice person, kind of takes advantage of her, working long hours, working overtime, constantly like putting her in positions to do more work than she should be doing because she knows that Katie's a pushover and she doesn't stand up for herself and she's not going to say no. So she just doesn't even ask. She's just like, you'll take care of it, right? No, stand up. But no, she doesn't. So her boss didn't even ask her if she was up for doing this late night transfer from Fox Hollow. She just assumed that she would be, especially because her boss has kids and they have things to do. And I know that this is a very real thing where single people in the workplace are kind of overlooked because they don't have a family. So work is their only like real thing that they're doing that's worthwhile. Social workers are known to be overworked and underpaid. I get that. It's what I signed up for. What I care about is not being treated like an actual human. Like my time is less valuable since I don't have a husband or kids to care for. I'm tired of it. I want to be seen as an actual person with feelings. Though I suppose it would be easier to be seen that way if I ever let anybody see those emotions. Okay, so we have a closed off workaholic queen, Love, who's sick and tired of being sick and tired. I get it. I love it. I can relate. Anyway, Lorraine's being a jerk. She's like, you can handle it. It's not a big deal. She just heads in her car, leaves. She shouts out a couple of directions over her shoulder as she's leaving Katie to take care of all of this. Katie chokes back tears, hating that she didn't stand up for herself. And I honestly hate that too. I really don't like with the baby existence as a full-grown human being walking through the world. Like, well, I couldn't say it because and I know some people are people pleasers and I know some people are nicer than me and I know some people are shy and not assertive. Your bosses, your friends, your boyfriends, your partners, everybody, they know that. And there are some bad people out there who will notice these weaknesses in you and exploit them. And you have to learn to stand up. You have to stand up for yourself. And I can't, I hate it. She hops in her car, she grabs like the go bag for an infant and the carrier and everything, latches it in. It's pouring rain. She starts making calls to like different foster parents as she's making the drive up, but nobody's answering. And then all of a sudden her signal cuts out because she's in the Fox Hollow Mountains and it's storming and it's a whole thing. I turn up the music to the radio and try to sing away my frustration over the past weekends. What do we think she's singing? It doesn't say, but like, what are we thinking? Like, you're just a man. Sometimes I just wish I could run away to the middle of nowhere and clear my head. When I get back to the office, I will go through the appropriate steps and request for vacation time. Maybe I can find a cheap rental out here in the woods of Fox Hollow, spend a few days in the wilderness and remember who I am. Oh, perfect, Katie, because Cutter wants a woman exactly like you. Maybe, probably. She starts to get a little freaked out too because it's still like raining and she doesn't really know what kind of person lives all the way out in the woods. They didn't do any background check on this. She just knew there was a baby that needed saving and that's her job. So she just lit out. And who could be out here? Some wild mountain man maybe? Oh, when you're right, you're right. You are in for quite a treat, my girl. Gets to the residence, grabs the diaper bag out of the back seat, rushes to get to the front door, and before she's about to knock, it just opens. Standing before me is the most ruggedly handsome mountain man I've ever seen. He has a thick beard. You know who she is. She's like a little mousy. I just see her as mousy, so. Standing before me is the most ruggedly handsome mountain man I've ever seen. He has a thick beard, dark brown eyes that match trunk of a cedar tree. He's tall, broad-shouldered in a flannel shirt that's rolled up to the elbows, revealing forearms covered in tattoos. He's also bleeding from a gash on his head. He's got a head wound, and the baby is screaming somewhere in the house and she's like, what the hell is going on here? Chapter 3, K Cutter. Cutter with a K has a cut on his forehead. Cutter has a cut on his forehead. That is silly goosery.
I'm staring, which I know is rude, but I can't exactly help it. The woman at my doorstep is ridiculously sexy. The kind of sexy I've been dreaming about for a long ass time. Her eyes are deep blue like the river that runs through Fox Hollow. Her figure, curvy and petite like a goddamn forest nymph.
Oh, good. We have Krista from Fern Gully, but like business casual Krista with a K, maybe.
Everything's okay now. I'm Cutter, I say as the woman passed me into the house. You, Katie? I was given the name of the social worker who'd be coming.
Yeah, I did that math myself.
Katie nods. Where's the baby?
The baby is snuggled up and bundled in his softest flannels inside of a chest of drawers, I guess, in front of the fireplace, getting warm. She survived a cougar attack and was left on the doorstep with a note, he tells Katie. And this baby has lived a big 12 minutes, I'll tell you. Someone else is living quite large too, if I may.
Katie pushes off her soaked jacket, the rain coming down so damn hard, and my twitches as I take in the view of her in a white t-shirt, snug in all the right places and wet in the right places too.
What does that mean? Like, my mind went straight to areola. Like, she's just got wetness right there. I'll stop doing that.
But her tits look good, which is not what I should be focusing on right now. It's about making sure this sweet baby is safe. Though I swear to God, one look at that sweet piece face, I made a vow to protect this little one as if my life depended on it. I made a similar vow.
I'm gonna let her be in the video because she deserves that. She deserves her screen time. This is gravy. Katie gives the baby a once over and then turns to Cutter and is like, what the heck happened to you? And he tells her about the cougars and she's all wide-eyed and gooey about it.
You could have been killed.
And at first, this made me chuckle because I was picturing a bobcat. And I was like, y'all are being a little too, about this. But then I looked up what a cougar looks like and they are terrifying. She's right. He could have been killed with a K. And cougars are terrifying. And after all, he is just a man. He's in awe of her job, of how much she clearly cares about her job. She's like, you need stitches. He's like, I'm not getting anywhere tonight because it's storming. The power's gonna go out any minute. And then Katie starts to gather things and head back to the car to take the baby back to town. Cutter is holding said baby and feeding her a bottle while she does this. Katie's like, I just need you to fill out some paperwork while I get everything ready. And also, you said there was a note. I'd like to see it. So he takes her to see the note. And the note is underwhelming, as I'm sure you guessed. I can't do this. Please take care of her. So it was the parent who left this baby behind, Burger from Sex and the City.
Oh, Burger broke up with me on a Post-it.
I'm sorry, I can't. Don't hate me. The motherfucker's concise.
And that's concise with a K. And Katie is this close to tears. She's all alone in the world. And I gotta say, don't you see this a lot? I, for a split second when I was in college, thought I was gonna be a social worker. And then I took an intro class or whatever. And we were supposed to have to shadow people around in different fields and subsects of this career path. And I was told in this class, you have to work on not crying. You can't cry, you can't get attached, you have a job to do and you need to be, care. You need to care. That's a key component in doing this line of work. But you don't need to start crying at a visitation or an interview or anything like that. You need to be able to be in control of your emotions. And upon hearing that in the classroom, I dipped and changed my career. And I also went on to drop out of college twice because it's just I don't know. I'm doing this, so obviously it's fine. Yeah, this is the job. I'm not saying it's not heartbreaking. I'm not saying that you probably don't have days that you go home and just melt into a bathtub and never want to reemerge because it feels hopeless and all the work you're doing is for nothing and there's so many children, so little time. I understand. But it's the job. Are you this wrecked every single time you have to do something like this? Just then, a tree falls and is blocking her exit down the mountain. So, oops, I guess she's stuck here. And then, boop, the lights go out too. We're having so much fun. Chapter 4 is Katie. Katie. She is crying again. This woman is barely... I'm not sitting here, I'm not the one who is going to sit here and say that sensitivity is not a strength. It definitely is. But if you are this close to the edge of tears at all times. And I understand she's under a lot of stress, okay? I know she's like overworked, and that is probably contributing to the heightened emotions. It's storming. It was stressful driving up here. There's a strange man that's staring at you in your perfectly wet shirt. I get that. She's in a fragile state, but get it together. She cries the whole time. Like, she's just crying. She's like the fluff atop a dandelion. Like, one, and she's gone. He leaves the two girls in the house as he goes to fix the generator out in the shed, you know, whatever. And she tries to make some calls, but there's no signal, and no one's shocked by this. There's no electricity. There's no exit. So, of course, naturally, the trifecta of this would be no service. They are off the grid for the night. They literally say that. And it's so funny to me to see this phrase pop up here, because in one of the previous books, that was like the sentence that let our main man know that his girl had made her way back to him, because somebody was like, I can't believe she was out here off the grid like that. And she had said off the grid in their initial conversation. He's like, off the grid. And this just proves my point that I said in that video, that that is actually a very common phrase, and I don't know why we're acting like otherwise. So she's alone in the house with the baby, so she takes this time to like look around, scope the house out, and she's like overwhelmed by how nice it is. Quality leather couch, thick wool blankets everywhere, an updated kitchen with marble, granite, whatever, the countertop. Thank goodness she isn't stuck in some creepy cabin for the night. I have a question. What if you were? What if you were, though? Would he still be hot and that would be okay? Like, he's so hot that it doesn't matter that you look like you're in a Saw dungeon? She sits in the rocking chair and with the baby. She's like closing her eyes and pretending that this baby belongs to her, which is again just a signal to me that you shouldn't be in this career. This is like a little weird for you. This is odd. I understand that it is tense. I understand it's an emotionally charged situation, but maybe data entry.
It's what I want deep down. A baby to love, to nurture, a chance to give a little one the childhood I never had. I became a social worker for a reason. I grew up in the system, shuffled from home to home, and the social workers who made sure I was safe were my superheroes. I wanted to be a hero for someone too.
Okay, did any of them weep all the time every time you had to talk to you? Having the drive to do something and then also having the capability and qualifications to follow through and do it well are two different things. And this is not me pretending like I would do it better. I wouldn't. But you know, that's why I'm not doing it. I'm not an elementary school teacher. I'm not a pre-K teacher. I am not a social worker, because I would be really bad at those things. I'd also be a really bad mathematician. I'm also really bad at filing my own taxes, so I probably wouldn't be good in that field either. And it doesn't matter that like one time I had the IRS send me a letter and I took my stuff to my taxes and they made sure that I was safe and did it right, and they were my hero. So I wanted to be a hero too. Now I'm an accountant. I would be horrible at that. Cutter has been gone for a while, so she starts to freak out, and I just want to say, you've been unstable since your arrival, maybe even before that. I don't know, we just met, but it seems like you've been unstable for a second. Just look at the marble countertops and everything will be okay. She looks at the baby and then she says she has soft black curls around her face, and I know that what she probably meant was soft black hair curling around her ears and forehead, but that's not what she said. She said soft black curls around her face, and I want you to picture what that looks like, and I want you to tell me why it's this. Anyway, sitting with this baby and thinking and you know, just having a quiet moment to herself with this child is bringing back a lot of memories from her childhood. But thankfully the lights pop back on before she can start crying for a fifth time since we've met her. And Cutter comes back in covered in muck because he fell down. There was like a mudslide or something in the backyard. He's gonna go shower. Are you gonna be okay here? She's like, yeah. But she also secretly wishes that she had fallen in mud too, so she could invite herself into the shower with him. Focus. Not only are you emotionally unstable and a whisper away from crying at any second, you are also bricked up. Also, if you were in the shower with him, you would just cry. He wouldn't even need to turn the water on. Chapter 5 is Cutter with a K. He sees Katie lick her lips. And goddamn, that seems like an invitation, but no! He wants her, yes, but he doesn't want to scare her before he can prove himself. Prove yourself how? So he hears her stomach growl and he starts to head to the kitchen to fix something, and she's like, puts her foot down. She's like, no, you're covered in muck. You need to go shower. I can take care of myself. Since when? And he's like, ooh, bossy, I wasn't expecting that. Neither was I. And she sets her hand on her curvy hip and is like, oh yeah? Why not? Maybe because you keep openly weeping at every turn. He's like, actually, I'm not sure, but it's nice. And she's like, I'm actually not usually one to speak my mind.
Guess you just needed the right man to put it in line.
And she's like, how do you know I don't already have a man? Good point. Good point. Point to Katie.
I tense. Is this sweet ass thing already hitched?
Charming. Just as charming as every single mountain man we've met so far.
I look at her ring finger. Bare. Good. I know you're not married, I tell her. And it's not because you're wearing a wedding band. It's because you're looking at me like you want something.
To be honest, this ate. I'm not a complete hater, okay? I can admit when there's something that goes well or when something works for me or when I like something, and I liked that. I can tell that you're not married, and not because you're not wearing a ring, but because you're looking at me like you want something. Guilty. I don't know. Ew, don't stop. I don't want, no, I'm not. Who, you are. This would have worked if it was in like a book that was decent. She's like, oh yeah, so what do I want? And he's like, me. And she's like, you're cracked. She doesn't say that.
But the way her eyes sparkle when she says it,
What?
tells him that he's not in fact cracked, but her back might be in a few minutes.
No, she offers to like make food for them while he goes and gets cleaned up. He directs her to like where the meat and the potatoes and all that other stuff. Not the meat and potatoes, but like the actual meat, the actual potatoes. And she says a soft, thank you. As he walks away and he stops, and he's like, for what? And she says,
For being a real man.
girl, what? Is it because he does his own food shopping? Is that what makes him a real man? Or is it fighting the cougars to save a weeping babe on a doorstep? Like, you got to be a little bit more specific here. I don't know what you're talking about. He's in the shower thinking of all the things he would do to her if only she were here with him. And also how
It's his job to protect both these girls now, and how that tree falling was no coincidence. It was fate, destiny. In the shower, I let the water run hot. My God, hard as I think about the woman on the other side of the door, her sweetheart face, her pink-lipped smile. It may be wrong to think of her naked and pressed against me, but I never said I was right. I'm a wild-ass man who lives in the woods for a reason.
What's the reason? Pray tell. He then begins to have a little fun with his meat and potatoes,
Thinking, what the hell is he even doing living alone when someone like her exists?
You know what's funny is that you knew that that was a potential possibility, or you should have known. Like, I can't, there are billions of people on the world. There had to be someone that you wanted to, that you were going to click with like this. But you wanted to live out in isolation and then be bitter when your friends found it washed up on the shore, hoveling in a bush, celebrating their birthday. I don't know. You wanted to complain that it's not accessible to you, but also complain that you don't have it, but take no steps towards getting it. He's just a man after all.
He's just a man, Lorelei.
But I know nothing about her, besides her full it's her perfect round ass, thighs nice and thick, the kind I long to spread so my beard can tease her in all the right places. I pump my as I imagine her wet and ready, goddamn. Tight. Mine. I come hard against the tile of the shower and I turn the water to cold, needing to settle
My stiffy. I'm gonna read that one more time for you, okay?
I turn the water to cold, needing to settle my stiffy so I can walk out of the bathroom without causing a goddamn scene.
I'm fine. It's fine. I've never heard anyone say in full sincerity, unironically. I don't think I've ever heard anyone ironically say stiffy when referring. I have never. It's not often that a book renders me a little speechless for a time. And when I read that out the first time, when my eyes glanced it upon the screen, I felt ill. And I still do a little bit, so I'm gonna have some tea real quick. It's from Cliche Teas. It's Meg's Tea Room. I don't know if you knew. She did a collab. It's delicious. This one is the chocolatey black tea, the Earl Grey with chocolate notes, cacao nibs and stuff. Put a little milk in it and some ice because it's hot. Delicious. Anyway, he doesn't want to walk out of the bathroom with his raging member, because it'll cause a scene.
Because my hard will cause a scene. She's never seen anything like it, I'm sure. But God, how I want to show her.
Can you imagine? He just whips it out like a...
Gravy! Gravy got a caller today. No, listen, I'm working.
So he leaves the bathroom in a towel and almost runs right smack dab into Katie, who was searching for the first aid kit so she could do something for him, care for him, since he's caring for the girls. Her and this baby they don't know. Speaking of the baby, out cold. Turns out a warm bottle, clean clothes, and a tight swaddle was all she needed. That's a direct quote. I'd say she needs a bit more. Home, a family that doesn't leave her on a doorstep somewhere, vaccinations, a pediatrician, a standing appointment at a local salon given the way her hair was described. She needs a little bit more, but okay. Sure, swaddle her up real nice and it won't matter that she doesn't have a mother. I mean, I don't have a mother and look at how great I am. He gives her the first aid kit and while she's doctoring him up, he just drops the towel, revealing his magnificent in all its glory. Well, you certainly think a lot of yourself. Chapter 6 is Katie. She is metaphorically gagged and wanting it to be literal because
Holy hotness, he is large. I may be a virgin.
oh my God.
I may be a virgin, but I'm familiar with battery-operated toys to help me relax. And this is no toy. What Cutter with a K is packing is purely male, purely massive, and purely made to please.
So, I was just wondering what we were gonna do with ourselves if neither of them were virgins. Like, who are we? I barely know. She's staring and he's like,
Don't worry, it won't bite. Like what you see.
I like what I see, I admit. Very much so, actually.
who talks like this when you're in the middle of a heated exchange of intimacy with another person? I'm gonna try this on my husband later.
I like what I see. I like it a lot, actually.
Kick me out. Don't let me come back in. Change the locks. Take my key.
Cutter laughs.
You're funny.
Where? Where was she funny? Show me. I need a visual aid.
And sexy. And
Don't.
what?
He sets his hand on either side of me, pining.
Pinning. You meant pinning. You wrote pining, but you meant pinning.
Pinning me in front of him. How close is his cock to my ass is what I want to know. Don't say things you don't mean. Cutter frowns.
But you are sexy as hell. I mean, I know you came here for work, but Katie, it's like you came here for so much more than that.
She asked him what he means by that and is a little proud of herself because she's being really direct with him. Like, in the words of Jack Dawson, when you've got nothing to lose, and there's literally nothing here. You don't know this man, you don't owe him anything, y'all aren't friends, you may never see him again, so yeah, sure. Practice on this man. Anyway, he tells her
That this is destiny.
and she's like, I don't believe in destiny. There are kids like this precious angel baby out here, and I just don't believe in things like that. And he's like,
Oh, you've been hurt before. That why you do the work you? Protecting people who can't protect themselves?
that's a direct quote. That why you do the work you, comma, protecting people who can't protect themselves, question mark.
He sees her right to the heart of who she is.
Even though he's just a man. But anyway, she's like, yeah, I was in the system. I want to make the system better for everyone. And he's like,
This little girl needs a name, don't you think?
not from you. Not from a man who stumbled upon her in the woods. She's like, no, when we say goodbye. And he like cuts her off by staring
Daggers into her eyeballs and saying, We don't know how this is gonna end.
I'm so glad that this is the last book because this savior complex in fantastical scenarios is just not for me. And having it happen repeatedly with women who are in dire straits or in some sort of a mess, in possession of children that don't belong to them most of the time, more often than not, is just getting a little bit much for me on the fourth go round. Also, savior complex, savior, not helping out on that whole Jesus fanfic thing.
She's like, don't. I just met you. And when I let people close to me, that's how I get hurt. And he stops her because he grabs her face. And they kiss. A kiss that she's always wanted.
Chapter 7 is Cutter. They're making out despite the close proximity of the newly orphaned newborn baby sleeping in the next room. Again, I just don't love these setups. I don't love the setups. I don't love the savior complex. I don't like how most of these women are in possession of children that they did not actually have and do not belong to them. Someone in my comments said that it's giving low-key, we don't want a used woman because they want the family and they want the hot, curvy, petite, nymphette forest girl of their dreams, but she has to be a virgin. Are all the women virgins? I think all the women are virgins, and they also somehow have this ready-made family that he doesn't have to like go through the whole thing of like co-parenting with another man or knowing that she's been with a man in the biblical sense before. Like, it's just like they said, low-key giving, we don't want used women. I have to agree. It does have that little current of that running through it, which is weird. But it makes sense if we're doing like Jesus, virgin birth, Mary, whatever kind of stuff. If we're trucking along with that ideology, it makes sense. So anyway, making out, right? They're making out, and she apparently smells like, quote, remember this is Cutter's chapter,
rain showers and starlight and brand new days and hope and desire and a future, all wrapped up in a curvy little package with huge shits.
Don't listen, Gravy. You just don't listen.
Too precious for this world. I'm so sorry.
But to be fair, you showed up on my porch. To be fair, he didn't say the part about the tits, but everything else he said, the rain showers and the starlight and the brand new days and the hope and the desire and the future, all wrapped up in a curvy little package. He is thinking about her, you know, and wanting to just slather him in his seed. And that's literally what he's thinking. I didn't make that up. He's taking her bra off and he's thinking that. Before they go any further though, she tells him that she's a virgin. She spills and she's like, does that change anything? I've never done this before. And he says,
I run a hand over my beard, taking in her holy innocence. Fuck, girl, it changes everything.
I know. Holy innocence. Oof. He is so ready to take her sweet virgin whole. But the baby starts crying. I am also crying. You can't see it, but know that I am. And she goes to get her, but she's like naked, so he gives her a shirt back, but no bra. No, you gotta let those gals run free. And he like gives him a squeeze. Runs off, and she's like, oh my God, the baby. And like, I can't help but feel sick over how inappropriate all of this is. You are there to do a job, ma'am. You're literally on the clock. In charge of transporting a baby who's been abandoned by her mother in the woods and almost died via cougar attack. Like, you're fired? You're fired. They decide to start calling the baby Hope with a K. No, I'm just kidding. It fits her so well. That's good because I've lost every shred of mine. While he was jerking it in the shower, she was making spaghetti.
And I fed him spaghetti.
So they all sit down and eat together. Isn't that sweet, Presh?
Carl, pass the rolls.
He asks her what she does for fun, and she says that she likes to read and hike and cook. What about you? And he says, same, but instead of cooking, I enjoy fishing. That works out well, because if she likes to cook and you like to fish, she can cook the things you fish. I just love it. It just works out so well. Puzzle complete, you know? She asked him why he's not married, and he's like, well, I've never met a woman that made me want to change my whole world for her. And she's like, I get it. You live in paradise. You have a little slice of paradise out here. Why would you want to share it? And he tells her that actually she's the one. He would turn the world upside down for her, Goblin King style.
I have turned the world upside down, and I have done it all for you.
After dinner, she yawns, and he's like, I'll take the couch. And she's like, unless. So they tuck the baby into the dresser drawer and close her in there. No, they just tuck her in, lined with flannels, right? She bandages his head again, and they discuss Hope and her future and the investigation that they're gonna do to find her birth parents and how she's afraid of where Hope might end up. And on top of that, Hope is different. Hope feels like hers. He's like, same. She's like, there's still so much we don't know. And he's like, well, we know what tonight will be. And she's like, take me, I'm yours. Ew, chapter 8, Katie. He's so damn masculine, it makes her feel safe to bare her soul and her box to him. Hope is asleep in the drawer in the bedroom, okay? And we go, wait. You moved the baby into the room that you're about to bang in? The baby that you don't know? We're judging you. I know she feels like yours, but she isn't. This is highly inappropriate at best and abuse at worst. Ugh. I know, that's what I said. Here, come here. They undress and her box warms at the sight of him, you know, as she takes them all in. He's huge and masculine and also has a ladder of abs. That's not getting old. They get in bed and they say that they have to be quiet so that they don't wake Hope up. You could have just not put her in the room that you're doing this in. That was always an option. And he kind of tells her this like telepathically or something, like, shh, like, you know, and she says,
I'm not. Understanding, wanting to be as respectful as possible.
That went out the window a long time ago. That went down the hill with the mudslide. That's not a thing that you're doing. That's not a thing that can be accomplished in this scenario. You're f***ing a stranger 4 feet away from an infant that you are literally in charge of protecting and caring for on the clock, as it is your literal job. Is the respect in the room with us? No, but the baby is. The baby is. He goes in for a quick bite, you know what I mean? And she is feeling all the different things except embarrassed, even though he is like in her super secret private place. I hate this book. This may be the worst one. Ending with a bang. She's dripping naturally, and he says she should, quote,
relax and let that of yours have some fun. Let me make you squirt.
And I gotta say, I think it's very strange that this is not the first time that water gunning has come up in a book that I'm pretty sure is like low-key fanning over Jesus stuff, right? Maybe maybe it's a baptism. Anyway, she's like, oh, you like how wet I am? And he says, I love
your juicy. Oh my God, I need to go. I need to leave.
That's not what she needs though. She needs this big, thick old member to fill her up and make her a woman. His woman. He's like, listen, I'm gonna level with you. My cock is gonna ruin you for all other men, okay? There's never gonna be anything like me again. It's never been done. Bus, plane, another plane, club. It's me, always. And she's like, I don't want other men. Good, that works out. He begins to fill her up with his quote,
raging, velvety length.
And she starts to cry. Of course she does. Who's shocked? Show of hands. No one. He kisses her and says, I love you.
No one's ever said that to me before.
And he's like, I'll say it 100 times.
She says, hey, John Tom, why are you running through my video? Thanks. She says she loves him too. This is so embarrassing. I've never been so embarrassed for fictional people that don't exist before. God, she can't believe that this has happened overnight. She loves him. She loves Hope. This is destiny. One good down and you believe in fate now? This is ridiculous. Putting the dick in ridiculous. So what exactly is the plan from here then? Just be on the lam with this mountain man and an infant that you swiped and didn't turn into the foster system like you were supposed to, which was literally your job. So they finish, they're arriving where they're there and they're cleaning up, and Hope wakes up and she goes to make her a bottle, and then all three of them snuggle in his bed as the storm continues to rage outside. Hella inappropriate. Chapter 9 is Cutter with a K.
In the morning, I wake to a sight I never thought I'd see in my whole damn life. The girl I love holding the baby I adore in my bed. When the f*** did I become a family man? All it took was one night, but really it wasn't about the night, it was about the girls. These two, they're mine now.
Sure, how's that gonna work? I have problems with it too, lady. I know. Come on up here so we can talk about it. Ow! We're learning how to use the litter box. What are we doing? No, you're good. You're good. Good job. You're so smart. You're so smart, girl. You're smarter than this bitch. Okay, anyway, I just don't know how that's gonna work. And he hears Katie's phone ring-a-linging in the other room, so he goes to retrieve it so he doesn't wake her up. Weirdo alert. Get your hands off the cellular device. The phone goes to voicemail, so he starts a pot of coffee. The storm is over, thank goodness. Shoo. He goes outside to assess the tree situation.
I'm gonna have to call James and Reed and Jasper to come over here and help.
It's so good that they live in isolation. He heads back in to change Hope, hands off,
and wonders how he'll go about acquiring her, like what they need from him. He's sure that Katie can help him get access to the right paperwork and stuff.
It can't be that simple, right? I'm sorry, I don't mean to clap at you. It can't be that simple. Like, you just see a baby with no adult around and you're like, I guess I'll take her. Like, there's a lot more to it than that. I'm not an expert on the system or anything, but there is more to it than that. But you can't just roll into a foster system office and be like, hey, I found this baby. How do I keep her? And then they just let you. That there's more to it than that. I know that to be factual. I don't have the schematic in front of me and the flow chart and how all the things go, but there's more to it than that. This is so dumb. Katie's awake and she listens to the voicemail and she lets Cutter listen with her. And it's Lorraine, her bitch ass of a boss. And she's like, the mom of this infant has been in the office asking about her. And just like that, their ready-made family that consisted of an abandoned baby is shattered. Katie starts crying. Again, he goes to comfort her.
She's like, no, Cutter, no, this is a fantasy and we can't, there's a system and I got caught up in you and the fantasy and I forgot about the system.
And she calls her boss back and he's like, I can have the tree cleared in a couple of hours and then you can take her down. So she relays that information to Lorraine and says that she'll have the baby down there in a couple of hours. So she, tells him that she's gonna go inside and get all of her stuff together and he's like, wait a minute, you're just gonna give up? It's been less than 24 hours. I take longer when I'm buying a piece of furniture. He's like, listen, you've been fighting alone for a long time, but I'm here now. And she's like, cool, for how long though? Which makes sense because again, this has been less than a full 24-hour day that you've known this man even existed, let alone like had a relationship. I know y'all said I love you in the heat of the moment, but I've said more for less. And it didn't mean anything then, just like this doesn't mean anything now. I hate this. How long though? How long will you be here? And Hope has a really good chance of going back with her birth mother. And I don't want to get in the way of that. Okay, so there's a lot of things here that I can talk about. So number one, if her mother is the one who left her to die in the woods, you don't want to get in the way of them being reunited. Like in each case is different and what's best for the family and what's best for the mother and then what's best for the baby don't always align. I understand that. We're not going to get into that today. But you're telling me like all we know is that this woman left this baby in the middle of the wilderness with no protection, and now she's back at the office asking about her whereabouts. I feel like that's not that simple either. They're like, oh, you're back. Good. We were worried that you forgot this in the woods. Like, would they just give her back? I hope not, but maybe I'm wrong. Second thing is, Hope's circumstances and Cutter's are not a package deal. Like, you don't have to link them forever entwined together. You can bang him and live with him out in these woods without having to adopt this baby. And vice versa. You can adopt this baby without living out forever with him. You don't have to, do you understand what I just said? Katie's crying again. I say again, but maybe she just never stopped.
He says, I swore to protect you both. We can be her advocates. And this is love. You can't just throw it away.
And he's like, even if we don't get to keep Hope,
don't run away from the first good thing you've ever had.
Talking about himself, this is why he doesn't have a partner, is because he loves himself for the both of them. He doesn't need the love of another person. This man wakes up, looks in the mirror, and falls in love with himself every single fucking day. Anyway, they say, I love you again to each other. And he's like,
I'm gonna make you my wife. Let's go. I have a truck that's actually not blocked by the tree. So I'm ready to go all in for my family. We need to take care of this right now.
Hold the phone. Hold it. You had access to a working vehicle and the road to get her back to safety and the baby to safety and maybe to a hospital to get checked out, and you didn't mention that until now? You could have taken them back to town the whole time. What is this? Chapter 10. It's chapter 10. Katie. They're headed down the mountain as his friends work to clear the tree. Good friends, good buddies. Her car is still stuck, but it's fine because it's her home now anyway. But is it? How is this gonna work? And what's gonna happen to Hope? I don't know. There's a lot of questions I have. None of them are important, and I hope to forget this book as soon as I'm done with this. She did fill out the intake paperwork for Hope, but they would need to be a registered foster family to even take her in. How will this work? Cutter seems to think destiny will have a hand in it. I'm sure it will. We only have a little while left, so I'm sure it's just gonna be easy peasy, lemon squeezy, shut the fuck up. So he's driving them back, and she's like, did you really just say that you would wife me up? And he's like, is that not the proposal you wanted? And she's like, no, I need a spectacle. I need it to be a big deal. He reassures her that he did mean it and that she can just quit her job and focus on raising Hope and all of that stuff.
Have faith in us.
Aw, faith, hope, and love. Isn't that something special? When they arrive back at the office, she's trying to pump herself up to be the assertive person that Hope needs because Hope is worth fighting for. And she's not a doormat anymore because she got dicked down by a man that she doesn't know 3 feet away from the baby she was supposed to be saving. Cutter is dressed in his best flannel. I don't know if I mentioned that. And he lifts Hope's car seat out of the car like it's nothing, because it is, because he's a mountain man daddy. And she can't help but notice how capable he looks. Like the sexiest mountain daddy in the whole wide world. See, I told you, mountain daddy. So they walk in and Lorraine fills them in on the birth mother, Holly, how she showed up with the birth certificate and every other document needed for Hope, and Cutter's like, cool, I want to talk to her. And Lorraine's like, no, no, I don't, what the fuck? But Holly hears from the other room and she pushes her way through. She like can't be a mother, okay? She just got this job as a roadie for this band. She's like headed to Europe tomorrow. She can't be a mother. And so she's here to relinquish her rights to Angel. That's right, Angel, not Hope, Angel. And Lorraine is like, this is not how things go. And that is when our girl stops crying and steps up.
We are skipping the process. This is between us now. Holly and Cutter and me.
And I'm sure Lorraine the whole time is thinking, who the fuck is Cutter? So Cutter leads the way, leads the charge, and is like making sure that Holly is aware of what she's saying, that she really does want to relinquish her rights to Angel, Hope, Angel. And she's like, yes. And so he's like, all right, well, first things first, we have to find a lawyer, make it official ASAP, because Holly's got a plane to catch.
Oh, and Lorraine, I quit. I'm going after the life I always wanted.
Epilogue, Cutter, 1 year later. So he wakes to Hope Angel crying through the baby monitor and slips out without waking Katie. He changes baby Angel Hope and sings her back to sleep. He's just a big old softie, is what I'm telling you. Except one area of him, of course. He takes her back to her room. He scans the photos that don her dresser from the last year or so, and their wedding day, the three of them at the courthouse to finalize the adoption, a pic of the birth mom, Holly, in Berlin. She keeps in touch on occasion. Cool, I guess. Is this an open adoption? What are we doing? He kisses baby Angel Hope's head and puts her back in her crib, hoping that she will sleep soundly because her mama needs her rest. Wanna guess why? Twins. She's pregnant with twins.
Twins!
Of course she is. Of course she is. The thought of his old knocked up ball and chain makes his ball and chain rise rock hard and ready to go. So he slips back into bed with her and she rolls over on top of him and starts taking his clothes off and her clothes off. And she was just having the hottest dream. And I gotta tell you, when you're pregnant, your dreams are very vivid. So this, I understand where this is coming from. And anyway, he gives her what she needs, just like he does every damn night. Like it's his duty to take care of her the same way he cares for her heart. Isn't that darling? She isn't done though. She needs him to fill up her mouth and she's practically begging for it. So he does. He gives his girl what she wants. All I did when I was pregnant was sleep and eat Reese's peanut butter cups. But every mother's journey is different. He fills her up just like she asks. He treats her mouth like the inside of a Twinkie, and they say I love you or whatever, the end. Good. God damn, that book sucked. So now that we're at the end, how's everybody feeling? I don't really feel a lot. I'm not feeling much. And as I look back on my journey with all of these heart, soul, protector, and men of the mountain, I don't know how to feel. I wish I had a better wrap up for you. I don't. I didn't even write an outro paragraph for this. This is a 1-star book. I think they're all 1-star books. I think that if somebody had cooked a little longer, tried a little harder, maybe we could have gotten like one somewhat decent book instead of 4 little bite-sized shit books, you know? We'll never, ever know. I'm okay with that. I'm learning to let go and let God. I don't need to know everything. I don't need to know everything. I don't need to do everything. I don't need to see everything. I don't need to read everything. I don't know what to say that I haven't already said, so I'll just wrap this up pretty quickly. I did finish another series for the channel, and I feel pretty good about that. Go me. I love you. You don't have to say it back. Thank you for sitting through this whole series with me. Let me know if you liked it below. Leave a mountain. Leave a mountain for each of these reviews that you've seen in the comments. If this is your first one, just leave one mountain emoji. If you've seen all 4, leave 4 of them. If you like this video, please like it. And if you like me and you want to hang out with me some more, consider subscribing to the channel. You can also join as a channel member and you'll get bonus perks like behind the scenes reading vlog and early access to things like rants with no ads. You can also join my Bindery page, which is free to join, free to sign up to follow along. And you'll get emails about what I'm reading and what I'm up to sent directly to your inbox every single week. But if you upgrade to a paid membership, you will support me, the work that I do, along with getting access to bonus things like early access to rant reviews, blogs that don't go anywhere else except the Bindery, access to my Discord. There's 2 Discords. There's a main Discord where we just hang out and chat about anything and everything, and then there's the book club, so you'll get access to the book club. I had to move my Discords behind a paywall for some safety concerns that I was having, and it's not what I wanted, but you know, it is what it is, and I made the choice that I needed to make so that I could feel safer in this vast wasteland that is the internet. We have a lot of fun in the book club. This month we are reading Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab. We are very excited about that. We hosted a giveaway to give away some copies of that because it's a new release. Access to the Discords, which will give you access to like giveaways and voting on future things that we read with the book club and all this other stuff. I appreciate you again sticking with me through this whole thing. Gravy would say goodbye to you, but she's asleep and I'm not gonna bother her because she just sat through probably the first book that she's ever had read to her, and it was the worst thing that she may have ever encountered. And she was abandoned in a bush by her mother. Thank God there are no mountain men nearby. Can you imagine? Anyway, I appreciate you being here. I love you. You don't have to say it back. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Can you ever forgive me for making you sit through that? Beans, little beans. She's like, leave me the hell alone. Okay, I'll leave you alone. Good night.